So we're heading into early winter at the moment on the narrow road Homestead. So let me give you a quick tour. The first thing I'm doing is doing a chop and drop in the food forest and laying down more mulch on the paths. We've got some good mycelium happening in the wood chips, so just wanting to keep building upon that. So I've been chopping and dropping and also creating better drip lines. So rather than just one dripping near the trunk, which is clearly the wrong thing to do, I'm creating rings, dripper rings, and then I'm starting to plant pioneer companion plants around the fruit trees to try to create a living mulch area instead of relying on pea straw, even though we're still relying on it. The idea is to put more plants in here, so doing that. A little while ago I did fill in partially our mini-swales, so they were probably about nearly a foot deeper than you can see here. So I filled it with organic matter so that it would act more like a sponge, and that there wouldn't be such a gap between the plants we want the swales to support and where the water goes, because if it's a foot deep there, then the water is sort of infiltrating too deep to be benefiting the actual plants. So I think that's going to help this area a lot. The other plan is to finally get rid of these gum trees, eucalyptus, and replace them with more supportive species. They're really water hungry, these guys, and even though they grow fast, they've kind of done their job. So it's gonna be sad to see all of this growth go, but we'll reuse all the wood. Those will be used for along the paths here. Chop and drop all of the green material, and the idea is to plant more supportive species and more fruit trees in this area. So we're going to do that. Still chopping and dropping this other half of the food forest in time for all the rain that's coming. So things are a lot greener than they were in summer, and so trying to just let the weeds just grow. We can deal with them later, but we're trying to create these guilds here. We've got some rosemary here that's grown a lot actually in a short time. Got borage and comfrey, lavender, strawberries. So we're just trying to create slowly but surely gilded areas that support the fruit trees that we've got here. At the front yard area here, we had tomato plants that we planted in the spring early this year, and then they went dormant in summer, and they just sat there in the entire summer, and then in early autumn and throughout autumn it came back to life, and we were getting a steady flow of tomatoes from this spot. If you ask me the spot that you think would not do very well, it would have been this spot right here, just because we've got a very small raised bed in really hot weather. But surprising, the tomatoes survived the summer with some drip irrigation, and then we got a steady supply of tomatoes, which was awesome. Bamboo's been going quite well. We're starting to get higher shoots, so now once these fill out, they'll be acting as a better screen. Once upon a time these weren't here, and we're getting a lot of glare in the summer against that shed there. So as the sun comes out, you can sort of see that. So these bamboos are doing their job. So they're the sort of rings that I've been putting around fruit trees, and putting 3 or 4 drippers on each. And still working on our herb spiral, trying to get more perennials to grow in here. So yeah, this marshmallow weed, we're just sort of I'm just letting it go, and if it starts to go to seed, or I'll chop it back. We've been getting kitchen scraps from a local store, sort of every day, every other day. And so what I've been doing is giving it to the chickens, and any garden waste, giving it to the chickens, letting them spend a couple of days on it, and then I clear it out and I put it in our worm farms or compost, so it kind of gets two uses, if you like. We've got some comfrey growing in here, so most of that will go out into the garden. This was part of the chicken run, but what I'm going to do with this area, or at least this is the current plan, I'm going to clear out all of this dirt here that's accumulated. It's kind of inoculated with the chicken manure, and I think I'm going to spread that in the food forest. And the idea is to put a couple of raised beds here, maybe one there, another one here, and another one behind me across here, and use it as an annual garden. And then when we've done a growing period, I can open this hatch here and let the chickens come and eat all of the old bits of the annuals, and dig around and sort of prepare the beds for the next growing period. So that's the idea. So this is where I'm doing my coffee ground compost to help age the coffee grounds before I give them to the worms. So it is a little bit wetter than I'd like at the moment. I think it's the first time I've been working the coffee ground tumbler in the winter time, so it's harder to get to temperature. But anyway, it'll do its job. And using this larger tumbler, I'm trying for the first time a wood chip compost to try to build mycelium, and then put this out around fruit trees. So I'm aiming for like a 3 month. I've got some worms in here. A 3 month turnaround. So try and age them for about 3 months. I think you can see the mycelium starting to grow in there. Pretty sure. Yeah, I think that's mycelium. I'm trying that out. We've got a massive supply of wood chips out the front there that we can utilise. I've just been spending a bit more time on the compost as things have cooled down. I've been able to harvest some compost and move them all down, starting on another one at the moment. This one's full of compost worms, and that system seems to be working. So when I harvest this, I'll harvest the worms out of it, and then I'll put it into the next pile, because by the time the hot compost has worked its way through to about here, it's cooled down enough for worms. But I like the idea of worms kind of working the compost as well. So that's the plan here. It's working quite well. We're heading into our winter annuals, and this is all pretty new to me. So there's not a lot of growing action, but I've planted a bunch of stuff. To be honest, I can't tell by looking, but in most beds, but we've got garlic here. I'm trying a bit of a green manure thing here. I just keep chopping back. We've got weeds in here and annual, so I'm just chopping it back and letting it, and just seeing what happens when I do that. But all of these beds with covers have some annuals growing. So the idea is just to keep practicing, and just keep, like, whenever a bed is ready, put something in it, and just learn, because having never done this before, it's a big learning curve. But the sort of my plan generally is like get something in the ground, let it grow while I'm doing something else, like the chop and drop over there in the food forest, and just getting to a point where we can where things are becoming more manageable. So up the point here, got blackberries starting to grow, got raspberries, and got our citrus here. And again, trying to get companion plants, got marigold, borage, chives, got some lavender here. And so the idea is, yeah, just grow as much as we can. So the citrus is looking awesome. It's just coming into season now. So we've got 2 orange, a lemon, mandarin, lime. We've got a grapefruit down there. Got another orange there somewhere. Got others down there, and this is our stone fruit side. So they're going into dormancy. Everything here is looking really good. So yeah, the other plan is, yeah, these are the beds that will go into the old chicken run area, and here we'll put a greenhouse. Looks like an ideal spot for it right here. I'm going to show you the propagation area before I finish. I've just started. I feel like I'm going to potentially end up with a lot of worm castings. So this is kind of like the waiting bay. So once I get the worms out and I give it a sift, I'm putting it in here, and hopefully I can build up a bit of a bank. Worm castings here, nothing in here at the moment. I think I might try duckweed this springtime. This is where we keep all the soil that I sift out of my last compost bay there with all the worms in it. I get as many worms out of it as I can, sift it into a wheelbarrow, bring it over here into this. And so that's all like fresh compost. Has been happening is any worms that I don't collect tend to sit on top of the compost here. So when I come over to grab some, there will usually be maybe 20 or 30 worms that I can just pluck out and put into the compost. So yeah, it's a good feeling. So yeah, we're trying to build up a nursery, trying to build up this area. Here I've got alyssum, I think they're called. So these are to go out into around the fruit trees for companion planting. Got what have we got there? Creeping thyme trying to grow, yarrow, dill. I started at the wrong time. Started as we're heading into winter, but it's all good. The idea is that this is going to become like more the engine of our homestead, where we'll be using a future greenhouse to grow things, get things started, or in the winter, bring them in here, and then get them out into the garden or even sell them. So this is going to become quite a busy area in the future. So if you made it to the end, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again in another video.